Discussion on verses 1 to 22 of 22. This chapter begins by inviting reflection on a striking aspect of creation, one that clearly points to the oneness of Allah, the Exalted, and demonstrates that He alone must be obeyed in every circumstance. Chapter 85 Al-Buruj, verse 1.
By the sky containing great stars.
The celestial bodies stand as a powerful testimony to deliberate and precise design. The stars that illuminate the night sky are not randomly scattered. Rather, they are arranged according to a perfectly ordered system. For thousands of years, long before the development of compasses, clocks, or modern navigation tools, people relied on the stars to guide them across deserts, oceans, and vast uncharted lands. Entire civilizations used constellations to determine direction, track seasonal changes, and structure their daily lives. This ancient system of navigation continues to demonstrate reliability, reflecting the enduring wisdom embedded within creation. Chapter 6 Al-An'am, verse 97.
And it is He who placed for you the stars that you may be guided by them, through the darknesses of the land and sea.
Those who study the universe cannot reasonably claim that the stars exist without purpose. Their movements follow precise and predictable patterns, repeating consistently over time. Constellations appear and disappear at specific intervals, marking the passage of seasons. Certain stars signal the arrival of winter or the onset of spring. Mariners historically navigated vast oceans by following fixed reference points such as the North Star, while farmers depended on celestial patterns to determine planting and harvesting periods. Even in modern times, astronomers rely on the consistent behavior of these celestial bodies to measure time, observe planetary motion, and understand the structure of the universe. Such precision, consistency, and harmony cannot be attributed to chance or coincidence. Rather, they indicate intentional design and perfect governance. The stars are not merely decorative features of the sky, they serve clear functions as guides, markers, and signs. Their beauty inspires reflection, while their purpose reveals a deeper reality: the existence of a creator whose knowledge and control encompass every detail. Through this reflection, it becomes evident that the one who arranged the stars with such flawless precision is the same one who deserves complete obedience. Just as the universe operates in perfect balance under His command, human beings are guided toward balance, peace of mind, and true success only when they align themselves with His guidance and use the blessings they have been granted in the manner He has prescribed. When a person reflects upon the universe, such as the stars, they will observe countless examples of precise balance and harmony. Another clear example is the position of the Earth in relation to the Sun. The Earth exists at an exact distance that allows life to flourish. If it were even slightly closer, the heat would make life impossible, and if it were further away, the cold would prevent survival. Likewise, the water cycle operates with remarkable precision. Water evaporates from the oceans, forms clouds in the atmosphere, and then returns to the earth as rain in carefully measured amounts, sustaining all living beings. The ground itself has been created with a unique balance. It is soft enough to allow delicate shoots and roots to break through and grow into crops that sustain life, yet it is firm enough to support heavy structures built upon it. These and many other examples clearly indicate not only the existence of a creator, but also the perfect balance established within creation by Allah, the Exalted. However, despite this universal balance, there remains one major aspect of existence that appears unbalanced: the actions of mankind. Throughout life, one observes oppressive and tyrannical individuals who often escape punishment, while many who are wronged do not receive full justice. Likewise, those who sincerely obey Allah, the Exalted, may face hardships and receive only a limited portion of their reward in this world, whereas those who openly disobey Him may enjoy comfort and luxury. Since Allah, the Exalted, has established balance throughout creation, it follows that the outcomes of human actions must also be brought into perfect balance. As this complete justice is not realized in this world, it must necessarily occur at another time, namely on the Day of Judgment. Allah, the Exalted, certainly possesses the ability to fully reward and punish within this world. However, from His wisdom, He does not do so completely here. One reason is that He grants people repeated opportunities to repent, reform their conduct, and return to the right path. If punishment were immediate and complete, many would be deprived of the chance to correct themselves. Similarly, The full reward of the righteous is not granted in this world because this life is not paradise. Furthermore, belief in the unseen, specifically the full and perfect reward and punishment of the next life, is a fundamental aspect of faith. It is this unseen element that distinguishes true faith. If people were to witness complete reward and punishment in this world through their senses, belief would no longer require sincerity or conviction, and its value would be diminished. Maintaining a balance between fear of punishment and hope for reward in the hereafter encourages a person to avoid sins and strive in performing righteous deeds. This balance nurtures discipline, sincerity, and perseverance in obeying Allah, the Exalted. For the day of recompense to occur, this material world must come to an end. Reward and punishment can only be fully administered once all actions have ceased. As long as people continue to act, the final judgment cannot take place. Therefore, the conclusion of this world is inevitable, paving the way for the establishment of perfect justice. Chapter 45 Al-Jatiyah, verse 22.
For Allah created the heavens and the earth for a purpose, so that every soul may be paid back for what it has committed. And none will be wronged.
Reflecting deeply on these realities strengthens a person's certainty in the Day of Judgment. This certainty, in turn, motivates them to prepare properly by using the blessings they have been granted in ways that please Allah, the Exalted, as outlined in the Holy Quran and the traditions of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. Through this, they achieve peace of mind and true success in both worlds, by maintaining a balanced mental and physical state, and by correctly placing everything and everyone within their life. Chapter 85 Al-Buruj, verse 2.
And by the promised day.
Whether a person chooses to prepare for it or neglects it, every individual will inevitably witness the Day of Judgment. This is an unavoidable reality that no one can escape or delay. Given this certainty, it is only logical for a person to prioritize preparing for it over matters that are uncertain and not guaranteed to occur, such as reaching a particular age, including retirement. Many people dedicate the majority of their time, energy, and resources toward planning for a future they may never experience, yet they neglect preparing for the one event that is absolutely certain. Chapter 85 Al-Buruj, verse 3.
And by the witness and what is witnessed.
This verse highlights the reality that everything will be brought forth and witnessed, whether it relates to a person's deeds, their intentions, or the events of that day itself. Every action, no matter how small, will be observed and accounted for. This serves as a powerful reminder that life is not without purpose or consequence, and that every moment is leading towards a final meeting with Allah, the Exalted. When a person reflects on this certainty, it becomes clear that prioritizing temporary worldly goals over eternal accountability is a misplaced effort. Worldly plans, such as financial stability or retirement, are uncertain and limited in benefit, whereas preparation for the Day of Judgment is both certain and everlasting in its consequences. Therefore, a person should realign their priorities by dedicating greater effort toward what will benefit them on that day. This involves using the blessings they have been granted in ways that please Allah, the Exalted, fulfilling their responsibilities, avoiding wrongdoing, and striving in righteous deeds. By doing so, they not only prepare for their inevitable accountability but also attain peace of mind in this world, as their life becomes balanced and purposeful, with everything and everyone placed in their proper position. As obedience to Allah, the Exalted, often conflicts with the worldly desires and ambitions of people, many individuals not only choose to ignore or reject His guidance, but go further by actively opposing it in various ways, according to their ability and influence. This opposition can manifest through criticism, mockery, social pressure, or even direct hostility, all driven by an unwillingness to restrain personal desires and submit to a higher moral authority. In general, when a person adopts a path that differs from those around them, it can create discomfort in others, as it indirectly highlights the shortcomings in their own choices. This is especially true when the alternative path emphasizes discipline, restraint, and obedience to Allah, the Exalted, while the majority prefer to prioritize their personal desires. As a result, those who strive to remain firm upon their faith often become targets of criticism, not only from wider society, but sometimes even from close family members and friends. This reaction is not always rooted in sincere concern, but rather in an internal unease that arises when one is confronted with a higher standard of conduct. In addition, modern societal influences, such as social media, fashion trends, and prevailing cultural norms, exert immense pressure on individuals to conform. These influences frequently promote values that prioritize appearance, status, wealth, and personal gratification over moral discipline and accountability. As a result, the call to Islam is often perceived as a barrier to achieving these worldly ambitions. Entire industries that thrive on indulgence, excess, and the pursuit of desire naturally resist the incorporation of Islamic principles, as such principles would limit their influence and profitability. This resistance contributes significantly to the widespread negative portrayal of Islam across various platforms, particularly in digital spaces where ideas are rapidly spread and reinforced. Furthermore, those who sincerely strive to follow Islamic teachings, which promote moderation, self-control, and the responsible use of blessings, are often met with hostility from individuals who live without restraint. Islam teaches that desires must be controlled and directed, not blindly followed. However, those who choose indulgence without limits often perceive this discipline as a threat to their lifestyle. Consequently, they attempt to discourage others from embracing or practicing Islam, inviting them instead toward a way of life centered on unchecked desires. A common method used in this effort is the selective criticism of certain aspects of Islam, such as the dress code for women. These criticisms are often presented as concerns for freedom or progress, yet they lack consistency and sincerity. For example, while objections may be raised against modest dress in Islam, no similar objections are directed toward uniforms and dress codes in professions such as law enforcement, the military, healthcare, education, or business. This inconsistency reveals that the criticism is not truly about clothing itself, but rather about a deeper discomfort with the principles of modesty, discipline, and submission to divine guidance. Such selective criticism exposes the weakness and superficial nature of these arguments, as they are driven more by bias than by genuine reasoning. Ultimately, it is the core values of Islam, self-discipline, accountability, and sincere obedience to Allah, the Exalted, that provoke opposition. These values challenge the prevailing culture of indulgence and compel individuals to reflect on their own conduct, which many seek to avoid. As a result, they criticize Islam in whatever manner they can, regardless of consistency or fairness. Chapter 85 Al-Buruj, verses 4-9.
Cursed were the companions of the trench, containing the fire full of fuel, when they were sitting near it. And they, to what they were doing against the believers, were witnesses. And they resented them not except because they believed in Allah, the Exalted in might, the Praiseworthy, to whom belongs the dominion of the heavens and the earth. And Allah over all things is witness.
These verses demonstrate that hostility toward those who believe is not a new phenomenon, but a recurring pattern throughout history. The root cause of this hostility is often nothing more than the believer's commitment to faith and obedience. Choosing to abandon the commands of Allah, the Exalted, in order to gain the approval of others inevitably results in the loss of inner peace. Such a choice leads to the misuse of blessings, as they are no longer guided by divine wisdom. Consequently, a person falls into a state of mental and physical imbalance, misplacing priorities and relationships, and neglecting preparation for the Day of Judgment. This imbalance manifests as stress, confusion, and ongoing difficulties in both this life and the next, regardless of any temporary worldly comfort. Chapter 85 Al-Buruj, verse 10.
Indeed, those who have tortured the believing men and believing women and then have not repented will have the punishment of hell, and they will have the punishment of the burning fire.
In contrast, those who remain steadfast in sincerely obeying Allah, the Exalted, are granted a deep sense of tranquility and are protected from the harmful influences of others, even if this protection is not always outwardly visible. Their commitment enables them to use their blessings correctly, leading to a balanced and organized life in which everything and everyone is placed in its proper position. This, in turn, allows them to prepare effectively for their accountability on the Day of Judgment. Such a person experiences peace of mind in this world and secures success in the hereafter. Chapter 85 Al-Buruj, verse 11.
Indeed, those who have believed and done righteous deeds will have gardens beneath which rivers flow. That is the great attainment.
In order for a person to remain firm upon this path, it is essential that they actively strive to develop a strong and unwavering faith. This strength is not something that is attained passively. Rather, it requires continuous effort, reflection, and commitment. Such firmness is vital for maintaining consistent obedience to Allah, the Exalted, in every circumstance, whether a person is experiencing ease and comfort or facing hardship and difficulty. A person whose faith is strong does not allow changing situations to alter their principles. Instead, they remain steady, recognizing that every situation is part of a test and an opportunity to draw closer to Allah, the Exalted. This type of faith is cultivated through gaining a clear understanding of the guidance found in the Holy Quran and the traditions of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, and more importantly, by implementing this knowledge into daily life. These teachings do not merely provide theoretical guidance, they offer practical direction for every aspect of life, demonstrating that sincere obedience to Allah, the Exalted, leads to genuine peace of mind and lasting success in both this world and the hereafter. Through consistent learning and application, a person begins to witness the wisdom behind these teachings, which further strengthens their conviction and commitment. In contrast, those who neglect to seek knowledge of Islamic teachings often develop a weak and unstable faith. Without a solid foundation of understanding, they become vulnerable to abandoning obedience whenever it conflicts with their personal desires or the pressures of society. This lack of knowledge clouds their judgment, preventing them from realizing that true peace is not found in the unrestricted fulfillment of desires, but rather in controlling and directing those desires in accordance with divine guidance. As a consequence of this ignorance and misplaced approach, a person inevitably falls into an unbalanced mental and physical state. They begin to misuse the blessings they have been granted, and in doing so, they misplace priorities, relationships, and responsibilities within their life. What should have been sources of comfort, such as family, wealth, and opportunities, gradually become sources of stress, anxiety, and difficulty. Even if such a person outwardly enjoys certain worldly luxuries, their inner state remains unsettled and troubled. Furthermore, by neglecting obedience and failing to prepare for their accountability, they expose themselves to far greater consequences in the hereafter. Chapter 85 Al-Buruj, verse 12.
Indeed, the vengeance of your Lord is severe.
Therefore, it is essential for every person to actively strengthen their faith through the sincere pursuit of knowledge and its consistent practical implementation. By doing so, they will be able to maintain steadfast obedience to Allah, the Exalted, in all situations. This will enable them to use the blessings they have been granted in the correct manner, leading to a balanced mental and physical state. In turn, they will be able to properly organize and prioritize every aspect of their life, ensuring that they are fully prepared for their accountability on the Day of Judgment, while attaining peace and success in both worlds. Allah, the Exalted, then calls upon people to reflect deeply on His absolute control over life and death, using this reality as a powerful means to encourage obedience and as a clear proof of His ability to resurrect the dead. Chapter 85 Al-Buruj, verse 13.
Indeed, it is He who originates creation and repeats.
To deny the resurrection of human beings on the Day of Judgment is a striking and unfounded claim, especially when the world around every person is filled with continuous and undeniable examples of life emerging from what appears to be lifelessness. Allah, the Exalted, has embedded the concept of revival throughout creation, displaying it repeatedly across daily experiences, seasonal cycles, and generational changes. These signs are not rare or hidden, rather, they are abundant, consistent, and accessible to anyone who is willing to reflect with sincerity. One of the clearest examples is the revival of barren land. Rain descends upon dry, lifeless soil, transforming it into fertile ground that produces vegetation of every kind. Seeds that appear dry, hard, and devoid of life absorb water, swell and break open, giving rise to plants that sustain both people and animals. If Allah, the Exalted, can bring forth life from something so seemingly lifeless and insignificant, then resurrecting the human being, who is also placed into the earth, is far from difficult for the one who created both in the first place. The changing of the seasons offers another profound demonstration. During colder periods, trees lose their leaves and appear lifeless, their branches empty and still. Yet with the arrival of warmth, they are revived once again. Leaves return, flowers blossom, and landscapes that once seemed dead become full of color and vitality. This transformation is not a one-time occurrence. It repeats year after year, serving as a constant reminder that life can return after apparent death. Even within the human body itself, signs of renewal are continuously taking place. Cells are constantly dying and being replaced, tissues regenerate, and the body undergoes an ongoing process of restoration and change. Although people often overlook this reality, it is a clear indication that renewal and recreation are part of the very design of human existence. Similar patterns can be observed throughout the natural world. A caterpillar enters a cocoon in a state that resembles lifelessness, only to emerge later as a completely transformed creature. Certain plants remain dormant for extended periods, appearing entirely dead, yet they come to life rapidly when exposed to the right conditions. Forests that are destroyed by fire gradually recover, as new growth emerges from the ashes and entire ecosystems are restored. Animals that enter deep states of inactivity during certain seasons appear almost lifeless, yet they awaken and resume activity when conditions change. Even within the oceans, environments that seem lifeless can recover and flourish again when circumstances allow. The skies themselves reflect this reality, as cycles of formation and renewal occur on a vast scale beyond human comprehension. What appears to be an end can become the beginning of something new, further emphasizing that creation and recreation are firmly within the control of Allah, the Exalted. In addition to these external signs, every person experiences a daily reminder of this truth through the cycle of sleep and wakefulness. Sleep resembles a minor form of death, as awareness is suspended and control over the body is reduced. Then upon waking, life and consciousness are restored once again. This repeated experience serves as a personal and constant reminder that the one who causes a person to return each day is fully capable of restoring them after death. Chapter 39 Az-Zumar, verse 42.
Allah takes the souls at the time of their death, and those that do not die He takes during their sleep. Then He keeps those for which He has decreed death, and releases the others for a specified term. Indeed, in that are signs for a people who give thought.
All of these examples collectively demonstrate that resurrection is not something strange or unprecedented. Rather, it is a reality that is reflected continuously throughout creation. The one who originates life in the first instance, and repeatedly brings about renewal in countless forms, is certainly able to bring human beings back to life after death. Therefore, the denial of resurrection is not due to a lack of evidence, but rather a failure to reflect sincerely on the clear and consistent signs that exist within both the external world and within a person's own existence. Despite the persistence of many people in disobeying Allah, the Exalted, driven by their attachment to worldly desires and ambitions, He does not hasten to punish them. Instead, He grants them time, opportunities, and repeated chances so that they may reflect, repent, and reform their conduct. This delay is not due to any inability to punish, but rather a manifestation of His immense mercy and compassion. Chapter 85 Al-Buruj, verse 14.
And He is the forgiving, the affectionate.
This verse highlights a profound reality. Alongside His complete knowledge and authority, Allah, the Exalted, possesses an immense willingness to forgive and a deep care for His creation. He continues to provide blessings, sustenance, and opportunities, even to those who turn away from Him, giving them every chance to return before it is too late. At the same time, it must be understood that Allah, the Exalted, is not lacking in power or authority in the slightest. He is fully capable of seizing every disobedient person instantly, without delay or resistance. Chapter 85 Al-Buruj, verses 15 to 16.
Honorable owner of the throne. Effector of what He intends.
The combination of these attributes, perfect might and boundless mercy, is not contradictory, but rather reflects a complete and flawless balance. His might guarantees that justice will ultimately be established, and that no wrongdoing will go unaddressed. At the same time, His mercy ensures that every person is given sufficient opportunity to recognize their errors, seek forgiveness, and correct their path before the final moment arrives. A wise person understands that the period of respite they are granted is not a sign of being overlooked or forgotten. Rather, it is a deliberate test of sincerity and awareness. It is a window of opportunity in which one's true intentions are revealed, whether they will continue in heedlessness or turn back in humility. Those who use this time to reform their actions, show gratitude for their blessings, and align their lives with the guidance of Allah, the Exalted, will find that His mercy far exceeds their shortcomings. Their past mistakes can be erased, and their future can be filled with peace and success. However, those who misuse this respite, persisting in disobedience while assuming they will never be held accountable, fall into a dangerous form of deception. They interpret delay as escape and opportunity as permission. Such an attitude only increases their negligence, until they are suddenly confronted with the reality they denied. At that point, the opportunity to repent will have passed, and the full manifestation of divine justice will become unavoidable. The lesson is therefore clear and urgent. Gratitude, obedience, and repentance must not be delayed or treated as matters for the distant future. The present moment is the only time a person truly possesses, and it is within this moment that change must occur. As long as a person is alive, the door of mercy remains open. But once death arrives, or when the day of judgment begins, that door will close permanently. Every soul will then face the consequences of its choices, with complete justice, and without the possibility of return. Allah, the Exalted, then calls people to reflect upon the lessons of history, and by extension, the examples found among those around them, particularly those who persisted in disobedience despite being granted time and opportunity to change, and the consequences they ultimately faced. Chapter Al-Buruj, verses 17 to 18.
Has there reached you the story of the soldiers, those of Pharaoh and Thamud?
These verses serve as a powerful warning against becoming absorbed in a narrow, self-centered way of life, where a person's focus is restricted solely to their own immediate concerns, while neglecting the wider realities that exist around them. Such a limited perspective prevents a person from recognizing the deeper lessons embedded in history, personal experiences, and the lives of others. As a result, they miss valuable opportunities to correct their behavior, strengthen their understanding, and avoid repeating the mistakes of those who came before them. Reflecting on past nations, such as the people of Pharaoh and Thamud, reveals a consistent pattern. They were granted strength, resources, and time, yet they chose arrogance and disobedience over humility and obedience. Despite clear signs and repeated warnings, they persisted in their ways until they were ultimately seized and destroyed. These accounts are not merely historical records, they are living lessons meant to guide people in every age, demonstrating that misuse of blessings and rejection of truth leads to ruin, regardless of one's power or status. This principle is not limited to ancient history. It can be observed clearly in the lives of people today. For instance, when one observes individuals who possess wealth, fame, and influence yet misuse these blessings, it often becomes evident that such a lifestyle does not lead to true peace. Many of them are overcome by anxiety, depression, addiction, and other forms of inner turmoil, despite having access to every material comfort. This demonstrates that genuine peace of mind cannot be achieved through wealth alone or by freely pursuing desires without restraint. Rather, it is attained through using blessings in the correct manner and maintaining balance in all aspects of life. Likewise, witnessing others endure illness, hardship, or loss should not be seen as distant or irrelevant events. Instead, these situations serve as reminders that blessings such as health, time, and stability are temporary and can be taken away at any moment. This awareness should inspire gratitude and encourage a person to make proper use of what they currently possess before it is lost. Therefore, a person is encouraged to adopt a reflective mindset, one that looks beyond personal circumstances and seeks to understand the lessons present in both history and daily life. By doing so, they refine their character, avoid harmful patterns, and align their actions with what leads to lasting benefit. This approach enables them to achieve a balanced mental and physical state, correctly prioritize all aspects of their life, and prepare effectively for their accountability on the Day of Judgment, ultimately leading to true tranquility and success in both worlds. Despite the countless signs, whether found in the lessons of history or within the intricate design of creation, that clearly demonstrate the necessity of obeying Allah, the Exalted, many people still persist in turning away from Him. Chapter 85 Al-Buruj, verse 19.
But they who disbelieve are in persistent denial.
In essence, every individual who abandons the divine code of conduct revealed by Allah, the Exalted, and replaces it with systems created by human beings, does so to satisfy their own inclinations. Human-made systems are inevitably influenced by limited understanding, personal interests, and shifting societal values. They are shaped by desire, not by complete knowledge or perfect justice. In contrast, divine guidance is founded upon absolute wisdom, fairness, and mercy, as it originates from the Creator who fully understands every aspect of human nature and existence. Those who possess wealth, influence, and authority are often the most deeply attached to such man-made systems. They realize that accepting the truth would require them to submit to a higher standard, one that regulates their behavior, limits their excesses, and holds them accountable for how they treat others. This would prevent them from exploiting people, pursuing unchecked desires, and misusing their power for personal gain. As a result, they resist this submission, not because they are unaware of the truth, but because they are unwilling to sacrifice their privileges. Out of fear of losing their status and control, they do not limit their rejection to themselves. Instead, they actively encourage others to follow their path, promoting ideas and lifestyles that preserve their influence. In doing so, they attempt to maintain their worldly position, even though this comes at the cost of their ultimate success. Their efforts are not merely personal choices, but often extend into shaping societal norms, influencing culture, and discouraging others from accepting and practicing the truth. This behavior is not something new or unique to any one time period. Throughout history, the first to oppose the holy prophets, peace be upon them, were frequently the leaders and elites of their societies. These individuals feared that accepting divine guidance would expose their wrongdoing, challenge their authority, and dismantle the systems that benefited them. Despite witnessing clear signs and undeniable proofs, they chose arrogance over humility and preference over truth. Their rejection was rarely based on genuine intellectual doubt. Rather, it was rooted in pride, stubbornness, and a desire to continue living according to their own wishes. This reveals an important reality. The refusal to accept divine guidance is, in most cases, not an issue of understanding, but an issue of the heart. It is a reluctance to restrain one's desires, and a refusal to submit to the authority of the Creator. Therefore, the verse serves as both a warning and an explanation. It clarifies that persistent denial is not a matter of confusion but of choice, a conscious decision to turn away from guidance in favor of personal desire. Recognizing this helps a person guard themselves against falling into the same pattern, encouraging them instead to approach truth with sincerity, humility, and a willingness to submit to what is right, regardless of personal preference. As history demonstrates, no matter what path a person chooses in life, they cannot escape the complete control and authority of Allah, the Exalted, who will hold every individual accountable for their actions in both this world and the next, even if this accountability is not immediately apparent to them. Chapter 85 Al-Buruj, verse 20.
While Allah encompasses them from behind.
Those who misuse the blessings they have been granted should not be deceived into thinking that the absence of immediate consequences, or their lack of awareness of punishment, implies that they will never face accountability. In this world, their disregard for divine guidance prevents them from attaining a balanced mental and physical state, and causes them to misplace priorities, relationships, and responsibilities within their lives. Consequently, even elements meant to provide comfort and support, such as family, friends, career, and wealth, can become sources of stress and distress. If such individuals continue to ignore the commands of Allah, the Exalted, they often direct blame toward the wrong people or circumstances, such as their spouse or colleagues, for their difficulties. In extreme cases, severing these positive relationships only deepens their suffering, leading to mental disorders, depression, substance abuse, and even suicidal tendencies. This pattern is clearly observable among those who persist in misusing their blessings, including wealthy and influential individuals, who may appear to enjoy worldly comforts yet experience profound internal turmoil. Moreover, because they neglected to prepare for their accountability on the day of judgment, the punishment they will face in the hereafter will be far more severe, underscoring the truth that temporary worldly gains cannot compensate for the loss of eternal success and inner peace, which can only be found by accepting and practically implementing the divine code of conduct granted by Allah the Exalted. Chapter 85 Al-Buruj, verses 21 to 22.
But this is an honored Quran, inscribed in a preserved slate.
Therefore, a person must accept and act upon the teachings of Islam for their own benefit, even when these teachings conflict with their personal desires. They should approach these teachings as a wise patient approaches the advice of a doctor, knowing that the prescriptions, bitter medicines and strict diets included, are ultimately for their own good. Just as the patient achieves improved mental and physical health by following the doctor's guidance, so too will the person who sincerely follows and applies Islamic teachings experience harmony and well-being in life. This is because only Allah, the Exalted, possesses the comprehensive knowledge required to ensure that a person attains a balanced mental and physical state, and correctly places all aspects of their life in order. The understanding of human mental and physical conditions that society or medical science provides, while valuable, is inherently limited. Human advice, no matter how well-intentioned or researched, cannot address every challenge a person may encounter, prevent all forms of mental and physical stress, or ensure the proper organization of life due to limitations in knowledge, experience, foresight, and personal biases. Allah, the Exalted, alone possesses this perfect knowledge and has made it accessible to humanity through the Holy Quran and the teachings of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. This truth becomes evident when one compares the lives of those who live according to Islamic guidance with those who ignore it. Just as patients often follow medical instructions without fully understanding the science behind them, Allah, the Exalted, invites people to reflect upon His guidance in Islam so they can recognize the benefits it brings. He does not ask people to accept it blindly. Rather, He presents clear proofs so that individuals can understand and appreciate its truth. Approaching these teachings with an open and unbiased mind allows one to recognize their wisdom and apply them correctly. Chapter 12 Yusuf, verse 108.
Say, this is my way, I invite to Allah with insight, I and those who follow me.
Furthermore, Allah, the Exalted, alone governs the spiritual hearts of people, the true seat of peace of mind. He alone determines who attains inner tranquility, and who does not. Chapter 53 and Najm, verse 43.
And that it is He who makes one laugh and weep.
Thus, it is evident that genuine peace of mind is granted only to those who use the blessings of Allah, the Exalted, correctly, as outlined in Islamic teachings. By following this guidance, individuals can achieve a balanced mental and physical state, harmoniously organize all aspects of their lives, and cultivate lasting serenity in both this world and the hereafter. Chapter 16 and Nahl, verse 97.
Whoever does righteousness, whether male or female, while he is a believer, we will surely cause him to live a good life, and we will surely give them their reward in the hereafter according to the best of what they used to do.
All praise is due to Allah, Lord of the worlds, and may peace and blessings be upon His final messenger, Muhammad, his noble family and companions.